Hi everybody. Well, it's been a very thought-provoking day for me, but first of all, I hope you enjoyed the little piano recital that I gave for you, or that I did for you. I enjoy playing. I get satisfaction out of it, and I just enjoy it. It's relaxing to me. I would like to take lessons further, but I'm not a real talented pianist, but I do enjoy playing. And I do have notes to follow here because I have a few things to say or to cover today, okay? So I'll be referring to my notes off and on, and then talking a lot around what I've got written down. But anyway, I do enjoy playing my little keyboard here. I've had a piano in the past, but now I'm very satisfied with the keyboard that I have now. My husband bought that for me a couple of years ago for a Christmas present, and I'm very happy with that. It will play other instruments as well, and I'll toy around with that every now and then, but I don't have it on the other instruments very often at all. I prefer leaving it on the grand piano sound, and I play it as a piano most of the time. I had lessons for about a year after I got the keyboard, and that was basically to refresh my memory. I had had lessons years prior when I was a teenager. My family just happened to move into a house in Minnesota that had a piano, a big old grand piano, upright in the basement, and I took lessons. And I took lessons for about 2 years, not quite 2 years. And then we moved from that house into a house that my parents had built. And I did not have a piano then going forward. So I didn't have any music lessons. And then years later, as an adult, when I was in my mid-20s maybe, I rented a piano, a Wurlitzer, with the idea, you rented towards the purchase of the piano. And I was renting, trying it out, and I took lessons at the store. That lasted for just under a year, and then I worked for AT&T at that time, and they moved the whole company, our department moved to a different location, out of town, to another location within the state, and I chose not to take the piano with me. I just felt it would be easier because I was moving, for one thing, first of all, until I found out where I was going to be living, I was going to be staying in a hotel. So, and my belongings were going to go into storage, and I just found it, I thought it would be easier relinquishing the piano, and if I had moved into some place where I could have another piano, I would get one at that time. Okay, so I just felt it was easier for me at the time. So, this keyboard I got as a Christmas present from my husband a couple of years ago, and it was strange how we came across this because we were just shopping at Sam's, big warehouse store, for those of you who don't know what Sam's is, and they had these keyboards on display. Of course, it was around Christmas time, and yeah, they were selling these keyboards. And I went up to it and turned it on, and I started playing, just something real simple that I remembered how to play. And that kind of sparked the interest in me again. I wanted a piano. I kept that deep in my mind, that eventually, somewhere along the line, I was going to have a piano again. And I even started looking at the music stores for piano sheet music and music books that I could play from. So anyway, it got closer to Christmas time, and my husband was perplexed. He didn't know what to get me, so we were talking about that. And he wanted me to look at some really expensive jewelry, a bracelet that he had chosen for me, but he wanted to make sure that I would wear it, so wanted me to look at it. And I went and I looked at it, and yes, it was very nice. Yes, I would have been happy with it, and yes, I would have worn it. But I told him, I said, you know what? Instead of spending that much money on a bracelet that I really don't need a bracelet, I said, I'd be very happy with that keyboard that I saw at Sam's. And I meant it. I would be, and I was, and I have been. So we went back to Sam's that very afternoon and bought the keyboard, and he didn't let me open it up until Christmas. But anyway, I have the keyboard now, and I took lessons on it, and I took lessons for about a year. I think it was just over a year. And during that time, I went through a process where I really missed working with people, out and around people. I missed working. And so I did find a job, and I returned to work in a doctor's office. And it was a doctor's office, a family medical center that was actually connected to I think I can say it, to the Florida hospital system where I had worked previously as a patient registration rep. So I had to quit the piano lessons. There was no workaround. I really couldn't do it in the evenings because I got home so late in the day, and there wasn't anything available on the weekends either. So with me working Monday through Friday, I had to discontinue the lessons. So that was it for the piano lessons. As far as the job goes, well, I loved returning to work. I loved working at that office. The medical staff was wonderful. I enjoyed the work. I'd done it before. I was a patient registration rep, and I enjoyed being with the people and getting them processed, and had no problem doing the job. My manager told me I was doing a really good job. And she didn't say fantastic, I say fantastic. But anyway, she said I was doing just fine. I was doing a good job. And so there was nothing bad about it, except one of the coworkers that I worked very closely with in my immediate work area. She was a real bully. And yes, it is true, there are bullies in the workplace. And even in a Christian-based hospital system office, bullies exist. And neither the manager nor HR really know how to deal with this issue. And it is a big issue. And it's getting worse. I've never experienced anything like it anywhere I worked before, whether for AT&T, a big corporation, or in other offices within Florida Hospital where I worked previously. And that was probably about 6 years prior to this experience. But this was one of the worst working experiences that I've ever been through. And unfortunately, I ended my career on that note, too. So anyway, I will get into that issue at a later time on another video. I really don't want to delve into it that deeply right now because it was very hard for me to get over. I left that job on my own accord. I refused to go back one day because I had had enough. So, anyway, I will address that issue later on, okay? Because it is an issue, an important issue that does need to be addressed by managers and HR management personnel. They don't know how to deal with it nowadays. They don't deal with it properly with what they do. So anyway, I will handle that. I will talk about that on another video, much more in detail. But let's see here. Where did I end up? Yeah, deep breath. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Okay. Anyway, after leaving that employment, I had to have time to regroup, because I did kind of lose myself in the process of things. And it took me a couple of months to find myself again, to get myself reestablished. That's how bad it was. But I did find me. I did get myself back together. And I had my husband's support, which was very, very good for me. And so, anyway, and I had some friends support too. I don't want to say that I was just out there by myself, some good friends, and Jeannie was one of them, who gave me full support, understood what I was going through, and that helps me. That did help me too, to overcome the bad feelings I had about how I left there. But it was all on my own accord, my choice to leave. And at this point now, I do not regret it. Anyway, I've said enough about that. Okay. What I did to regroup was to throw myself back into the hobbies that I used to participate in before I started working, okay? I found some sewing classes at that sewing business that I took classes at for many years. I joined up on the sewing classes and got involved in those, a couple different ones, basically making clothing, okay? And then I got involved in a community sewing group of ladies. They don't meet very often though, so I haven't, matter of fact, I haven't been to a meeting in a couple months because there hasn't been one, but I do go when I can, when there is one, and I enjoy that. It's a nice group of ladies, and we sit and we talk and chat and get things done and learn new things too. I started to play my piano a little bit on my own as I can, and I do still enjoy it. I would like to take lessons again, but I really don't want to get confined into taking weekly lessons. I would love it if I could find a teacher that would take me on for maybe a lesson a month, but I haven't had any luck in getting such a teacher. It seems like they want to take you on if you want to come each week. You know, they want that routine, and I understand that. But maybe one of these days I can find somebody where it's once a month. That I can handle with everything else that I have on my plate here. In the meantime, I just play when I want to, and I play what I want to, and I just get enjoyment with what I do. So, most importantly, with me playing the few tunes that I did for you this time around, I just wanted to show you that no matter how old you get to be, you're never too old to learn something new, and you're never too old to improve upon an existing skill that you have, okay? I believe it's very important that you keep on learning, keep on honing a skill. You need to keep challenging yourself. I should say, we need to keep challenging ourselves as we get older in every way, especially mentally. Physically too, I know that, but mentally is very important too. Keep those mental skills sharp. Okay, and that's why I try to keep busy with my piano lessons, my sewing lessons, just keeping busy doing things like that. So that's all I have to say about that today. I hope you are enjoying your day. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others around you. And as one other lady said too in her videos, and I do agree with her, treat others sometimes better than they treat you. I guess the saying is true. You treat others the way that you would like to be treated. You're not always going to be treated in the same manner, and sometimes you're going to be treated very harshly. But just stay true to yourself. That's the best you can do to take care of yourself. Okay? Take care, and I'll be talking to you again real soon. Bye for now.